Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our final part of the Excel course. In this one, we're going to be talking about some advanced graph stuff. Specifically, we're going to be talking about combination graphs, as well as how and when to add error bars. So, a combination graph is essentially what it says. It's when you have two different graphs with one another, on top of one another. This is used when you have two different types of data but they relate to the same sort of object. So for this one, if we look at the data here, we've got four different groups and we have three different things that we're analyzing. If we look at these first two, what type of graph do we think best represents that sort of data? Probably a bar graph. And then if we look at this one at the end here, we can do something like a line graph. So for a combination graph, we're going to start by selecting our data. We will have Excel assume what we're trying to do. We're going to insert, and we'll start with the bar graph because that has more things. We're going to do just a regular bar graph. It's not too bad, right? We've got the title, we've got our legend already, we've got our groups, but I think we can make this a little bit better. So if we right click and hit change chart type, we can change it to any sort of graph that we want. By the way, this also works if you want to change the type of chart that you make from any of the earlier charts. But we're going to change it to a combination graph. Now, Excel is pretty smart. It already knows that we want to have this bar graph and the line graph. But if we hit OK now, something kind of weird happens is we have this green line at the bottom. That doesn't really make any sense. So if we right click and go back to change chart type, what we need is a secondary axis. We hit OK, and then we get the secondary axis here. This one corresponds with the percentage here. And then we have this green line graph superimposed on top of our bar graph. Now, what else we can do is if we want to make this a little bit cleaner, instead of having them side by side, we can stack them on top of one another, hit OK, and then we have this nice little stacked combination graph. Now, of course, we still need to add some axes titles. Be sure to include units. Excel is smart enough to know that we need 3 different axes titles. And then once you label everything, give the chart a nice title, and format your table, you should be all done. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Now we're going to be talking about error bars. When it comes to data, especially raw data, you need to have error bars associated with your data. This is because we know that measurements aren't always correct and they have a little bit of variance associated with them. Now, there's many different ways that you can find the actual error in your data, but for this, I'm just going to show you how to add error bars. You're simply going to hit this plus, go over to error bars, and hit this arrow for more options. You get a ton of options here of all the different stuff that you need to do. Now, almost always, you're going to want to have both plus and minus. It doesn't usually make sense to have a plus or a minus, and almost always these are going to be the same value of the plus or the minus. You're probably going to want there to be caps. This just means you have all the whiskers on them. And then for the actual value of the error bars, you can either have it be some sort of fixed value, you can have it be a custom value because you've calculated some sort of propagation of error. You can just do the standard error, which is what we're going to go for this example, or we can do any of the other things. Now, to calculate a custom one, you could do a t-test or ANOVA. That's outside the scope of this course, but be sure to include error bars whenever you have raw data because these data points aren't exact. I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you guys and your final exams. Please come to my office hours, email me, Let me know if you have any questions. Have an awesome winter break, and thank you so much for attending this class. Bye-bye.